G'day friends and fans, this is a controversial topic, so it may get struck down by YouTube at some point, but take note. Feminism has failed. Mankind has prevailed. Artificial intelligence is transforming robotics and humanity forever. With the sex doll, the gestation doll. Now, the sex doll, there are the Australian group, who I will not name, you've all heard of them at some point. They are changing the name like they changed stockings, panties, boyfriends. Okay, collective action, a collective shout wants these banned as slavery and degrading to women. These are artificially intelligent sex dolls. They have the power. Remember, you, once upon a time, had a big cabinet, right? So you look at your average wall shelf, right? This big old cabinet. Now you have more computing power, right? AI, powered by now this phone, or whatever it is, the microcomputer in the doll, it's the size of a phone. It uses two big chips, right? No screen. Well, it has a small screen, but doesn't need a screen except for the diagnosis and settings changes. But it's all programmed for your phone anyway. It's a Bluetooth device. But in Britain, they have one is a little bit more powerful, but it's not, again, it's actually not a commercial product. But they have trialed 138 artificial nurses, right? Now, these are the same technology as a sex doll, right? They are made with latex skin. They have a aluminum chromium skeleton with over 700 actuators, which enable it full articulation beyond human level. It has sort of two-way vision eyes, so it can it's bioptic vision. Sorry, not two-way vision. Bioptic vision, so that it actually has depth perception, so it can measure distances. It has pressure sensors in its fingertips, so it can actually deliver a light touch. So you have sex dolls, you have artificial nurses, you also have, in Japan, the home care bot, you have the assist lift bot in coming to airports. I think Japan, LA, and the big one in America, in Atlanta. These are robots which replace forklifts. Now, apparently they're already using them in Amazon as well. What you knew about robotics last year, this year's changing, right? Last year, they used, 5 years ago, last year they were mostly reporting 2020's technology where AI was in a brick, right? A big brick. Now it's in a phone, right? AI the size of your phone. Now, it's not sophisticated as ChatGPT yet. It's not, I believe it's a 10,000 conversational word. It has, uses the internet as its database, right? Just like ChatGPT anyway. And it primarily uses open source. Now, currently it's available in English, Spanish, German, Chinese, and Korean. Obviously targeting the countries with the biggest, loneliest epidemics. Which includes their own. They admit it. Now they're coming to Japan, but the Chinese have been blocked out of the Japanese market. Now the BB doll, right, is experimental and hyper specialized, and it can mimic, it can identify, but it cannot actually think. Okay, it is not a thinking machine. It is a programmed conversational machine with very limited actions and abilities. The more sophisticated it gets, like A sex doll is $1,400. Artificial nurse, $140,000. These lift devices and parcel delivery drones are 1.4 million. But if they're willing to replace workers with something that's valued with 1.4 million, guarantee it's going to be $14,000 by the end of the year, and probably down to $1,400 by the time Temu gets their hands on it, on the technology. The Chinese sex robot industry is so rapidly evolving that traditional silicon dolls, known as static dolls, have been replaced. Manufacturers increasingly incorporating AI to try and get lifelike emotions and engagement. So far, the leading company, Sperry Technology, and they say here WM doll, but their symbol looks like BB or 88, which in China is bye-bye. Not what you think. It is not what you think, YouTube. In China, BB or 88, whichever you want to use, means bye-bye to the Chinese, okay? And they laugh at you every time you think something else. Now, Lang Wuzhou is in trouble with the Chinese government. He has avoided taxes and has engaged in hoaxes in the past. And he, this time, is following strict ethical and marketing guidelines. He is not promising that these are love dolls starting at $3,000, but high-level biometric models could cost $175,000. They have been investigated for fraud by the European Union, and so far, the AI-powered sex bots has been out since 2024. And the company who levelled the allegations of fraud is an Indian company based in the UK, which failed to launch their product. So you may see there are a lot of hoaxes in China, absolutely. But so far, even the European Union admits that these dolls are what you would call mimicry rather than AI. But they admit that they are on par with what most companies call AI. It's just not as sophisticated or as large or as capable as many robots, but it doesn't have to be. So when it comes to the sex robot industry, right, these are rated 9 out of 10. Now you actually have Vietnam, Korea, and other countries with their own similar technologies, with their same prices. Now, in some countries, you cannot import the Chinese sex doll. Now, that's because, like Australia, you have a rabid anti-feminist movement who cuts anything out that men like. But China is moving to the next level. Now, the artificial womb was dismissed recently as a hoax, and the Chinese tech doll was allegedly dismissed as a hoax, where in fact the company, right, was profiled by Vice, investigated by several companies back in 2025, and found that they were in development. They were not a hoax. They just did not have a working product. Now, yes, it is linked to the same company, KY Technologies, right, that was allegedly linked to a hoax, but that hoax was actually perpetrated by former employees of KY. KY has stated they do not have a commercial product, right? Now, they're selling this robot to the they approached the USDA to prove the concept of the product, to get this hoax label dropped. They have tried to get around embargoes, Canada and other countries, to access technologies to complete their project. Now, the Chinese government is facing stiff competition around the world. Now, he and his team, this is Dr. Kwai Fang, have not completed the prototype, right? It's only estimated to hit the market within a year. They are behind, right? Now, they aim for a price tag of around $14,000. Now, the value of the yarn has dropped, and they have run into technology problems, technology embargoes. That's why they're being labelled a hoax, because they have not finished or completed their project. A lot of investors are upset. But the reality is, this tech has been denounced as by many. But scientists, particularly in America, have, yes, say artificial wombs are close to human reproduction, right? And admit, back in 2017, artificial wombs are not new. 2017, there was one showed off, a sealed bag with synthetic fluid. The lamb grew fur. It survived birth. But they technically were not lambs. They were, they were declared lambs, but they were artificial life forms, right? They were artificially gestated, artificially seminated, and only the sperm came from a ram. The egg was a stem cell. Stem cell cluster, right? They inserted the sperm into the first one, and then copied, right? You know how cells can reproduce, right? They're chemically and biologically manipulated. So they artificially created a lamb. Now, of course, humans are far more complex machines. Biological, but still a machine. Machine is a misunderstood. A machine is a mechanical process. We have mechanical processes, okay? But we also have biological processes which fuel that machine, which is what makes you a life form, and so the lamb is a life form, even if it's not technically a lamb. People are lining up to buy it. People are investing trillions, not millions, not billions, trillions. Governments around the world have backed this IVF program, and it is expanding. In 2017, it was only in the millions. By 2025, investment in IVF and artificial life forms has reached trillions. And it's not new technology. The Chinese gestation machine or pregnancy robot has been worked on for some time. And the primary investigator for China is the Nanyang Technology University, or NTU. They are leading in China, but they're not leading in the world. Kawa Technology has clarified, right? They're not actually developing the womb. They're only developing the robot torso and the AI. It is the Chinese government who is developing the womb, right? That the Kawai Technologies is only the contractor for the robotics and AI. Now, the current state of the technology, right, only states up until 2017. Right, 2017, as of 2017, artificial womb in the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia was successfully used in supporting a premature baby in a bio bag for several weeks. It was successfully born, but it was already a developed baby. It was born prematurely, right? Primarily, most of the technology has been used with lambs. There have been only 12, maybe more, but again, the internet is full of contradictions these days with backpedaling by companies. The current challenges of the technology is the placenta, right? This is the provider of nutrients, waste removal, and immunity protection, right? It's a massive engineering hurdle that remains unresolved for humans. They can do it for lambs. They have successfully done it for lambs. They can mass produce lambs within 6 weeks. From semination to birth in 6 weeks, an edible lamb. Not right? Grow a whole lamb, right? And probably the way they do it could be soon mass produced in factories, right? Bill Gates, probably the biggest Western investor in this technology, but there are hundreds of investors now in this technology. Though back in 2025, the Chinese pregnancy robot story is reported as collapsed by Interacting Engineering. Live Science also denounces the story as fake, but others have said, right, and proven that it's not the technology is not fake, it's just not complete, it is not ready, and that Carwai Technologies is not developing the womb, it is developing the technology to support it, the robot to house the womb, and the AI to regulate the temperature, the nutrients, the waste disposal, all that, right? So they are still, and it's believed to be now that they are 5 years behind Korea. So obviously that puts them years behind America as well. Right, remember, the technology America is reporting only goes up so far as 2017. There are no, but according to Nature magazine, human trials are alleged to start soon for an artificial womb in America. The Guardian has said it's been successfully used for premature babies, but primarily in animals, for lambs. Again, the Guardian's reporting this in 2017. Now, one of the reasons it is slowed or halted in 2017 is the ethical debate. Now, an artificial womb, or aka the uretile replicator or artificial uterus, is a external organism that will basically, or organ, that will support. And it has, shown here, a bag with a lamb. Right, and there it is in 2017, confirmed, right? They grew a lamb. Now, again, right, well, some people dismiss it, others, including Korea, and others are reporting that they've had success. Now, exo-womb is another, I use the term exo-womb in my own writing, right? When I originally, half this information wasn't available when I started investigating this weeks ago, right? Google obviously is and Wikipedia are all catching up with the technology, right? The Guardian, yes, we all go to the Guardian for our science, right? Nature magazine has said this technology is real, right? The Chinese are working on it. They are working on the robot, not the womb. The Chinese government is working on the womb. And the womb, as you see, there are technologies that it is not yet available for human. The human trials have yet to begin. The one of the things holding them back is the ethical debate, right? The other is, of course, is the technology sufficient to not just provide 1 day, but for 9 months without breakdown, without failure, right? And how does it grow an umbilical cord and other questions, right? There are things. Japan, right? Extrauterine fetal incubation. Yoshori Kawano, right? He did this back in 1996, right? The Japanese did it first in 1996 with a baby. Developed a immature inborn, right? Took a immature newborn who would have died and gestated it successfully outside of the human body. However, the system is flawed and it's not ready to do an entire fetus. But by 2017, they were able to do it with a lamb successfully and a human successfully. but that was only 4 weeks. Colossal Sciences from USA and the University of Melbourne successfully ran a project for a sea cow, right? Now, a lot of these projects are actual environmental projects to replace species going extinct, to prevent species from going extinct, right? In the Netherlands, they have, 10 million for the next stage. So their first stage, 3 million euros, successful, right? Israel has grown a synthetic embryo from stem cells back in 2022, an artificial human. It's believed it was terminated in 6 weeks, according to various internet searches. Or is it named Joe Biden? You be the judge. Hospital clinic in Spain has done 115 days, and it survived, but it only survived 7 days. So after birth, it only survived 7 days. So there's still a lot of things that need solving. Now, here's the thing: gender equality. According to this, what are we going to do with all the women? Well, they don't want to reproduce, so why care? Well, who cares? Again, it's The Guardian. Who goes to The Guardian for their ethics or science? Certainly not me. But I hope this clarifies, right? Yes, there are 12 births from womb transplants from a woman to a woman. The fetus in each time allegedly was also produced from another woman and implanted into that womb. But they are still trialing fetal implants. They have, as I said yesterday, men are lining up to be the first man to actually have a womb implanted in them. This hasn't been done yet. There are still ethical debates, and still we do not know how many of these projects have failed. Now, some of them have, and some have admitted to, right? They have the problem of where they have to actually induce pregnancy, right? Induce, right? They don't get pregnant naturally. They have to put the fetus in. So every day they are unleashing more information. It's like they drip feeding us and preparing us for the inevitable. And that is, for the equivalent of half a year's salary, you will buy a baby. It will be your baby. It will be not a woman's baby. It will be your stem cells, your sperm, right? They can't do this with a woman, right? They can't take a woman's ova and turn it into a baby, right? They can't inject ova into a stem cell and create a baby, but they can create a baby from man, right? Which is ironic, right? Babies are created by man. Put up your hand if you knew that already, right, Adam? Right? So since Adam was a boy, they've been creating babies from men. That women are the recipient of that implant. Right? Without the gestation in the woman, though, that's the part that is, right? Yeah, so if women won't gestate babies, men are saying, enough with your feminist garbage, you are now replaced. Right? Go be a feminist. You go on your little island escapades. Go find yourself in Ghana. Don't come back. Now, the Washington Post, of course, did report that the International Society for Stem Cell Research, they can grow embryos, but they only got 14 days in a lab. Right? They cannot legally go past that date. And then, as I said, the closest they got was for a long-term one was in Spain, but it didn't last past 7 days. Was that intentional, or were they terminated? Now, Eindhoven claims to have improved the technologies, but they haven't produced papers. Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, they haven't released any papers since 2017. All of them are classified, or you look up any new papers and they're just repeating old studies. Now, the three biggest issues before I leave: nutrition regulation, that's where the AI comes in. Oxygen supply, again, that's where the AI comes in. Waste disposal. Now, that is a complex machine. They will have to produce an artificial placenta. Now, that will be a combination of artificial cells. And I should have brought that up, because Harvard actually created artificial cells. They're also artificial plants. I've got to do one, not the other. Yeah, well, I'm not talking about this type of artificial plant. I mean an actual artificial biological plant it's also been worked on. Synthetic cells, engineered particles that mimic one or more biological cell functions. A lot of them are membranes created using stem cells, but others are using artificial proteins grown in a lab. That is, okay, they bottom up, that's where they create the protein, or top down, that's where they strip stem cells. These can be used to deliver drugs into your body, aka RNA and other technologies. And yes, microreactors and biosensors, this is electronic machines the size of, this is what's going into robots right now. Biosensors that are literally the size of a cell to produce impulses that can be processed by a machine. The technology we're reading about is often early 2000s. Some of it is 2017. Some of it is cutting edge. Artificial cells. Harvard. And remember, does anybody remember the WHINE scare where an Iraqi put together smallpox? That was 90s technology. This is 90s technologies, folks. So, artificial wombs, sex robots, and maybe next year we'll have, this is next year, right? They're talking about this year now, right? They're hoping to have the synthetic uterus, right? They have embryonic fluid, right? They have created a embryo cord. NASA created one a long time ago, but ethics, right? It was meant to be for astronauts, right? To plug into your belly button, to wire you into life support, right? That was abandoned a long time ago. So there's a lot of research also that's abandoned. So a lot of time, right? The accusations of fakery, that is not true. That has been debunked. So yes, while the claims of articles have been debunked, right? The actual claim, if you read into it, what the actual debunking is the company itself admitting they're not producing the whole sex robot. They're only producing components. But there you go. Artificial womb is real technology, right? Women, you have played yourself, right? When you are the most expensive product on the planet, when you are $1 million price tag, a $1.4 million robot that could probably last longer, work longer, and more productive than you. Now you can see why, right? Amazon would pay $1.4 million for a delivery robot, because it's cheaper, faster, more productive than 31% of their workforce. And which gender and which people are they talking about? They're not talking about white boys. They're keeping the white boys, right? Amazon is hiring more white boys than ever. You heard Trump, right? We're hiring Amazon. Everybody is hiring more white boys. He didn't actually say that. He said Americans. But you know what I mean. You know what he meant. You know that's why Elon Omar and others freaked out, because all these programs are bringing in all these DUI workers, right, saying that they're cheaper. Wrong. They cost more than the robot, right, and do less work than the robot. And we're talking about 2000s technology robots, not 2026 technology robots. And this is just something that picks up a 20-kilogram package and goes rain, hail or shine to the destination, right? The delivery driver drives down the street, right? They got a bunch, right, full of parcels, right? They got just opens up. The robot gets out, goes around the back, delivers the parcel, gets back in the front, and then they just drive to the next destination. So, if you're a white boy, you got a future. And that is going to upset a lot of people, but that is the truth. Okay? All these hordes that they bred for mass production and all these big mega factories they expected to build by 2050, they're all gone. All those plans are gone. All those mega factories in China, where are they now? They're closing. They're not reopening in India. They're not building as many factories, right? They're not building as many factories. You look around the world, there are less factories, right? And they have to cut employment by 2030 by 10%. So we're going to see more unemployment. We're going to see, look at India. They're already forcibly cutting their reproduction. They're forcibly snipping men to stop reproduction in India, right? Because they're overpopulated. Modi won't tell you that in public. And yeah, where's the most factories are opening in either Vietnam or Mexico? And even with Mexico, right? What do you think China's... you think it's just a coincidence that there's trouble in Mexico now? You don't think the Chinese are trying their last desperate throw of the dice? But artificial cells, artificial wombs, and all they need is your squirt. So maybe they... unemployed men will be paid by the government to breed. Who knows, right? 50K is allegedly, right, the money being tossed around right now in Japan for breeders. Right? It's Korea. I think they're offering men only $3,000. Put up your hand if you're going to squirt an old fat Korean lady for $3,000. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Although there'll always be someone, right? There'll always be someone. But in Japan, I think, yeah, they are paying a couple, right, to have children. They are not yet going down the artificial route. There are some countries, also Vietnam, who are still somewhat stable and just above replacement. India has fallen from 18.3 in 5 years down to less than 1, like 0.75. Korea, which is just above Korea. So, India is collapsing, China's collapsing. Africa's collapsing, but we don't know the birth or death rate there. But it seems to be that most of the people, yeah. So, again, we are seeing feminism defeated. Just not in a, what you would say, a timely manner. So thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and please support the channel. It is support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy my merch. All my links are in the link tree, description below, in my profile. I appreciate each and every one of you. And again, if you've got something I missed, did I miss something? I swear. There are many articles. Yes, I already know there are many articles claiming that Kawaii is a fake. There are many articles claiming Kawaii is real and already got it, the technology. I'm saying it's in between. Kawaii is only contractor, please. Right? And if you think China's got artificial wombs, what has America got? Right? Did not Trump say we got better? Bigger, better. It's huge, I tell you. Yeah, that bitch got a huge pussy. See you for now. Bye.